For today's topic, I'm going to provide you the travel requirements for all U.S. citizens going to Philippines. Please take note that U.S. citizens do not need a visa to travel to the Philippines. This is because U.S. is included under Executive Order number 408. So what is this EO number 408? So this executive order lists all of the countries where nationals can stay in the Philippines visa-free for 30 days. And US is included in the list of countries. However, if you wanted to have a longer duration of a visa when traveling to the Philippines, is that you have the option of obtaining a visa from a Philippine consulate abroad before traveling. So this means that you must prepare your documents and apply online. So there is a website where you can apply for a visa from a Philippine consulate abroad. However, if you wanted to travel to the Philippines without obtaining a visa, you can still do so, but the duration for the visa is 30 days, visa-free. However, if you obtain a single entry visa from a Philippine consulate abroad, the duration is 59 days. However, there are a lot of US citizens and also former Filipino citizens who wanted to stay in the Philippines beyond 30 days. We're also going to talk about the balikbayan privilege for former Filipino citizens in this video. Please be aware of the different travel rules depending on the type of passenger. I'm also going to discuss in this video on how to extend your visa if you are staying in the Philippines beyond 30 days. And also there is a strict requirement of a return or onward ticket. So please make sure that you comply with these immigration entry requirements. Foreigners under EO 408 do not need a visa. In addition, you must have a passport valid for at least 6 months at the time of your arrival in the Philippines. Also, you must have a return or onward ticket. The requirement is that your return or onward ticket must be within 30 days for non-visa required countries under Executive Order number 408. Also, you must not be a restricted, blacklisted, or considered excluded alien by the Bureau of Immigration. Here's an illustration for foreign nationals. For foreign tourists, there are two classifications: visa-free under EO 408 and visa required. These are countries not included under EO or Executive Order number 408. So visa-free privileges, 30 days, and 9A visa will be 59 days single entry visa. Other classifications of foreign nationals: former Filipino citizens, also foreign spouse, and there are different requirements if they are traveling with Filipino or former Filipino, or if they are traveling alone, they will be treated as a foreign tourist. Also, there are foreign children traveling with Filipino or former Filipino parent. And other classification of foreign nationals are holders of valid visa. Let's talk about the travel requirements. First, the US passport must be valid for at least 6 months, and this means that it must not be expiring within the next 6 months. So that means you must have a valid US passport that you can use for travel, and the validity must be more than or at least 6 months. This is because Philippines requires that all foreign nationals must have a valid passport that is at least 6 months or more than 6 months. So this is a Philippine requirement for all foreign nationals, not just US citizens. The second requirement is the registration for e-travel. All passengers going to the Philippines, whether you are Filipino or non-Filipino, must register for e-travel within 72 hours. Make sure that you go to the official website etravel.gov.ph because there are several scam websites asking for money and personal information. So just to avoid being victimized by those websites, make sure to go to the official website. Also, it will ask you to create an account. Once you have created an account, you can now log in. If you are going to travel with your family members, you can also add a family member. If you have used this registration, it will show your other personal information and other details of your previous registration. Select the current user and then air and arrival. And then you can also create a new travel declaration. Just fill in with the required information and make sure all of the information that you will use must be accurate, because this information will be used upon entering Philippines. And if you have a connecting flight, you must also fill out the transit information. You also have an option of putting your residence or hotel information. Once you have entered your destination details, you can now hit next. For health declaration, there is no vaccination or testing required. After this, you will be connected to the Philippine Customs Declaration form, so make sure that you read all of the information before answering the questions. Once you have finished answering the questions, you can now hit next. You can take a photo or upload the file and sign, and you can also include your family member for his or her signature. Once you have successfully submitted your information, you will now receive your QR code. You will also receive a copy of your QR code in your email address. Make sure that you have this information. The third requirement is the online customs declaration form. Once you have successfully registered for e-travel, it will link you to the Philippine Customs Declaration form. Make sure that you read all of the policies regarding baggage declaration, prohibited items, and currency declaration. If you have specific items to declare, you must declare the item description and the amount. There is a questionnaire about specific items that you needed to declare. Also, you must declare your baggages together with your family members if you are traveling with your family. Once you have entered the information, you will be asked to sign the customs declaration form and then click next. And then if you have a family member, the family member must also sign the form as well. Here is the actual QR code once you have completed or successfully submitted your information for customs declaration. This QR code will be presented to the customs officer for clearance. Let's talk about the return or onward ticket. Who needs a return or onward ticket when traveling to the Philippines? Return or onward ticket will be required for foreign tourist or foreign spouse traveling alone, and it must be not later than 30 days. If you're a former Filipino citizen, you are entitled to a balikbayan privilege of 1 year stay in the Philippines. Also, return or onward ticket is not required for former Filipino citizens. Any other questions or comments, please post them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Again, thank you guys for supporting my channel. And if you haven't liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I always welcome new subscribers. Thank you guys for watching. I hope everyone is staying safe and have a great day.